Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes, bringing you another Old Man Orange Presents Via VHS episode. One of them from the rarities vault that we have from back in the day that just never got put out. So come join us for another fun-filled retro movie review. Let's jump on in.
So welcome to another episode of the Via VHS Retro Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, as always, joined by Spencer Scott Holmes. And we are doing a little bit more Hulk Hogan, a little bit more Shadow Warriors. Shadow Warriors 2, or 1, or both. No one knows anymore. But we're talking about the assault on Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's the thing that clarifies it all up quite a bit, though.
Yeah.
That there, the 1999, bringing back with some Carl Weathers as well, too.
Carl Weathers, man. It's, this is, another one that they promoted heavily on Nitro. Come watch, our shtick here. But, this is like late in the game for Nitro's WCW starting to die.
Yeah.
This is when Norman Smiley's winning championships and Scott Steiner's the main event every night. Booker T carrying the torch, which I love Booker T. I'm not slandering.
Yeah, I like Booker T a lot. I like Scott Steiner a lot too.
Yeah. Big Papa Pump. He's just not a headliner guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so the post triumphant era of WCW, we're heading towards the open air Monday Nitro, where Sting and Ric Flair go against each other, and that's all she wrote. And Hogan's still making all that money from Ted Turner. I wonder how much he collectively made from WCW. When you factor it all in.
Yeah, because I always think that all those contracts like that, especially the Hogan one and all that stuff too, it's one of those things that's the stuff that's pretty much what brought WCW down. You can't just be paying everybody just these ridiculous things, you know what I mean? Some money's got to go back into the business.
Yeah. He was just such a glory whore, when it came to WCW. He was anyway, and even in WWF, but he really was in WCW. It was his thing. He knows he's Michael Jordan, he's LeBron James. He's the franchise.
Yeah.
And he did throw a bone to some of his buddies though when he would do these things. But there's really not a huge wrestler presence in these. Not too much.
No, well, especially I was hoping maybe in the second one they would add a couple more, and it's no, not really. It actually gets a little bit more dwindled in its cast.
Yeah, it's a little bit more focused on kind of what this whole thing was going to be. It feels like there was going to be more.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, because they talked about it being a TV show and everything like that, and nobody could come to a conclusion. We're doing so whatever, we'll just do another movie or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Carl Weathers was well, whatever, I'll just take another job. I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, that's all this was to him, obviously. Anyway, he's just another league when it comes to these people.
Yeah, it's just one of those. Well, he's just the working class man now at this point.
If they would have started these in 94, 95,
yeah,
they could have got 3 in.
Oh, I definitely think so. Yeah.
And maybe they should have done this instead of Thunder in Paradise, but the Thunder in Paradise is fun.
Yeah, I love me Thunder in Paradise.
But this is better.
Yeah, I definitely think so. These ones definitely weird. They had something going for them at least.
Yeah. And, neither one are super realistic, but I could never get over the boat in Thunder in Paradise, how it's this slim boat, and then they walk down there, and then Hulk Hogan's 6'10" giant he's not that big, but he's huge. And he's just standing up with headspace and this speedboat. Come on, y'all. Give into the illusion a little bit.
Boat's 17 foot tall.
Yeah. This is it a yacht or is it not?
Yeah, what is this thing?
Yeah. I think that really bugged me. I could never get over that. The whole time I was watching it, every time I had to go down there, I'm like, okay, if you want to have a little bit of cabin space down there, I can buy that.
crawl in a little bit. You know what I mean? Have to kind of duck down even.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Hogan, especially somebody who's a giant. But now this man's got like head clearance. Like he's just standing there, like relaxing. Like he's got all this room. Like no,
Like basketball.
he's like dunk. He's dunking, working on his vertical. Oh my God.
Space down there.
Just throwing stuff up in the air.
No worries whatsoever.
I mean, gosh. Yeah, Shadow Warriors is definitely a little bit more competent. These movies aren't bad.
No, for a made-for-TV movies, they're pretty solid for what they are.
I'm trying to think of another comparison, like made for TV.
Other movies of kind of an action military caliber, made-for-TV movies in that 90s sort of vibe.
Yeah, I can think of a whole lot of movies like that. Like I'm sure there was some like movies of the week on like ABC or NBC.
Yeah.
But I think everything was already, if you had a movie like this, it was already an established TV thing.
Yeah, mostly it was always tied to something. And I will say, like, these movies sort of have like a somewhat kind of higher budget, you know, for a made for TV. Like they feel like if they were released just like, you know, maybe 10 years, if not maybe even a little bit less earlier, they would easily just be straight to VHS movies. Like they're made in that kind of way. But in a sense, they're able to get sort of a TV premiere because they're tied in with Nitro and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which worked out great. And Eric Bischoff is, you know, producing this. And
yeah.
I meant to look up and see. I'd love to hear his opinion on these because he goes, you know, he's one of those wrestling personalities that goes on every podcast he can now.
Yeah, he just loves talking.
Well, I mean, so do I. So I can't say.
It's a perfect retirement gig. Is what do? You just go around telling your stories.
Yeah, and they are so mean to each other.
Yeah.
Now and then they just talk. All they do is like talk shit about each other. Kevin Nash is the worst. And he just
Kevin Nash has just the podcast where I have no idea what the hell ever goes on in that podcast.
I've listened to several episodes of it. And yeah, he'll either say, yeah, this guy's a really cool person, or it's just, oh, he's a piece of shit. I hated that guy. He's a dick. And he just throws everybody under the bus. And I'm like, at some point, I'm like, dude, what did you do? Like, and then Big Show's on the Stone Cold podcast recently and throwing the NWO under the bus, and they're all just all a bunch of divas, man.
I think that's the thing is people just want to hear them just old wrestler stories come on and then bitch about stuff. And
see, I don't. I want them to be friends.
I like the good times. That's why I like when you hear people like Ric Flair and everything like that. He doesn't talk ever bad about things. It's just all about good.
You're right. I've only heard him talk. Who did I hear him talk bad about? But there wasn't many.
Yeah.
There was. He says nice things about Hogan. He loves Shawn Michaels. Loves The Rock. You know, Stone Cold. He says all those nice things. Undertaker. I never hear him bash people. Or The Rock.
Yeah. I never hear Stone Cold, anybody ever really bash Stone Cold. Seems like everybody always gets along with Stone Cold.
I think so, too. I think he was the only person he ever had real kind of like beef with, like, was Owen Hart. But that was, it's for good reason.
On his head.
Yeah. I killed his ass. You had to do it to him so bad. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. No, you don't. But yeah, and Hogan's looking. He looked a little bigger in this one, or is it just me, or maybe a little bit more?
I don't know. You don't have the Hogan kung fu training in the beginning.
No, instead, was he like in a hut or something?
Well, in this one, he's got like his Gulf War flashback scenes of being like intoxicated and poisoned. And he's trying to figure out what this is. And I'm just as confused watching this because it has like that very like, oh, we're going to go with that like industrial rock kind of where we're like, let's lower the frame or the shutter speed down so you get that kind of blurriness to everything.
That's some Walker Texas Ranger shit right there.
Like, you know what? Walker's kind of a close thing because that's like almost like Chuck Norris, even though it's a TV show, but that has that Chuck Norris, like, it's like a Chuck Norris movie that just happened to turn to a TV show.
Yeah, it feels like that. They feel more to me like Baywatch, Thunder in Paradise, because it has the same people I think were involved with it.
Yeah, I think it's always that same team throughout all these.
Yeah, like they were making stuff for like NBC, but they would also like make syndication stuff for like TNT. Because I think at that time, I might be completely wrong, but I think NBC and TNT were kind of somewhat related, a little bit before Universal got into the picture. I think TNT and NBC, they weren't like part of the same company, but they had like some overlap or something.
See, I thought Baywatch was initially on Fox.
Maybe it was. I thought it was on.
I almost want to say I remember what as a kid growing up on Fox, there was the block that would run. It would go Batman the Animated Series, Saved by the Bell, and then Baywatch would go on.
Oh, see, I think that was syndication though.
That would have been like 93, so that was right when I know when that's when Batman was right out.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, all those shows were they still had been in their prime right at that time. I don't think syndication had totally happened yet.
Was Briscoe County Jr. ever on network, or is it just TNT? Or
no, it was on TV because I know because I didn't have cable or satellite back when that show was out, because it was one of those weird shows that was on like a Friday night. And I want to say it was probably on Fox.
That was on Fox. You're right.
I think NBC was the one station that I was missing when it just didn't come in very clear when I had antenna. I think because I could get Fox from like I think San Francisco-ish, and then I guess NBC. No, CBS was I think from Sacramento, and then ABC or something came from like Monterey. So there was kind of a stretch there. I remember there was always one of them. I think it's NBC was. That could be the other way around. But whatever. Yeah, I just remember those kind of like mixed match things of how they were. But
here in Raleigh, what's weird is we have like two ABCs, and then the one of them will show NBC stuff. I don't know how that works, but they'll show like it's weird, but they're both ABC.
Yeah. Weird combinations there.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had TV, but I've only had cable like for like 10 minutes since I've lived in this part of the state. But it's always weird to me how that stuff works. Charlotte was great. You had CBS, NBC, ABC, and then you can figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, you got the rest of them there and so on.
Yeah, and you could always get Fox unless some of the Southern Baptists weren't protesting something on their like X-Files or something like that.
But yeah, so yeah, past all that and figuring that there, when we get to Assault on Death Mountain, it's got an interesting once you get past Hogan's, Gulf War poisoning trauma that we don't really know what's going on. It doesn't explain anything about that for a while. You get this like you just kind of learn that like okay, the three of them now are like guns for hire for stuff, and this one lady comes up, he's like, hey, my husband just took my daughter. Oh yeah, where'd they go? Oh, to Austria. So could you go over there and rescue her and so on like that? Like, oh well, this seems kind of a lesser mission than what we were used to. Whatever, we'll go there.
Yeah, can you just cross international borders and violate some accords and different things like that, and just go over there and forget the Austrian I mean this you could have brought Schwarzenegger into this very easily.
Yeah, well, no, there's no way Schwarzenegger would do a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, I'm just being sarcastic. I'm just saying, like, from a plot wise, they're probably thinking that, hey, get Arnie in here. It's a shame Arnold and Hogan never really, did anything.
It's that missing Expendables thing. It's like that. Hogan should have just been in Expendables, literally from the start. I almost feel.
Or honestly. I love Jesse Ventura and Predator, but I wouldn't have minded seeing the Hogan version of that.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, then I don't know who would win if they compared arms then.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, Hogan and Arnold would definitely be, especially Hogan at that time period, because Arnold's almost a little bit smaller. It's not like he's, when Arnold's in his movie roles, he's still large, but he's not like, in like his athletic large shape, like, bodybuilding and so on like that. So Hogan like is in athletic shape right at that time period. He could almost be slightly bigger than Arnold. He's taller than Arnold.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How tall is Arnold? He's probably like 6'2",
6'2".
6'2", 6'1", 6'2". Maybe he wasn't super, super tall.
And then Hogan's 6'5", so
Is he? It's only 6'5"?
yeah.
I
think they always kind of exaggerate his height to like 6'7". You know, like a lot of times whenever I see like sometimes like the stats on certain things like on wrestling, I always kind of go, you probably minus it down by about 2 inches on everybody.
He seemed huge when I was near him, but it was only because he was around race car drivers.
Yeah.
And so most of those guys were really small. Like I was like Kyle Petty and Richard Petty and Lake Speed. That's a real race car driver. Lake Speed, by the way. When he was towering over all them. So I guess he felt taller than he would. There was a basketball player there too, and I cannot remember who it was. But yeah, but he's pretty massive in this, and Carl Weathers is, of course, Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Again, I know off topic again, I'm sorry, but I would have liked to have seen a wrestling tie-in with Carl Weathers, bring him into WCW.
I know that especially since it's towards like the end of like WCW, like why not? Like, what do you get to do?
Yeah, have him come out in there in the Apollo Creed shorts.
Yeah, crowd would have went wild.
Oh my God, I would have tuned back in. I was kind of already out by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Hogan kind of was. I don't remember him being around a lot at the end of WCW.
Well, because I think with these movies, this is what he was really trying to do. I think this is when he was trying to get really serious in the movies. He was like, okay, the kid stuff's over. I'm going to try to go with this. I do, he does about 3 movies right here in a row, because there's one in between these 2 movies. It's a not related character wise.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's in between these 2. And so he's doing that, and I think he's trying to give this the real go, because I really think that's like really what happens is like he almost sees the end of the road of WCW. It then gets bought by WWF, and then it's really not like he doesn't have that big kind of return until like the Rock match.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 2004, 3
or 4?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they had the whole NWO. They bring the NWO back into. Well, they bring it to the WWF or WWE. I can't remember which it was at that time. I can't remember when it switched.
It was WWE right then, because I remember like I think it was 5th grade for me, I think, or something like that. That is where it switched or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the World Wildlife Federation. Nobody remembers anymore. I felt like that company probably lost so much of like their support, like once they did that, because that they're like, oh, anybody who is into wrestling will never respect us ever again now.
I wish memes were around.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That period.
Yeah, Stone Cold giving like a stunner to a panda.
Yeah, well, because that's how I felt too. It's like one of those ones like when I was a kid, I would have been like, yeah, cool, support the wildlife, cool like that, and so like that. The second they did that, I'm like, well, guess who I'm never going to support? if you got money to sue another company over just, the initials, go screw yourself.
Yeah, but like, why wait till they're at their hot? Like, I guess they thought they could get a lot of money out of them. I think that they were.
I think that's what they were really. They probably didn't think that the WWF was actually going to be like, sure, whatever, we'll switch our name. Yeah, I think that's like one of those ones they must have thought they had him over a barrel or something like that. And that's where I totally lost. Like that company, it's like, yeah, right. That organization, like you probably keep all your money.
And fuck you and your pandas.
Yeah, screw that. So
yeah, fuck that noise. So we got Hogan all roided up, and then oh my God, what's her name?
Oh, Shannon Tweed, Gene.
Yes. Yeah. So we got the core trio from the original, and we're back now. We're Guns for Hire now. This is what we do.
Well, it's funny too because it's like, okay, we're back to Austria now, and the daughter's been captured by her dad. And it's like one of those ones, like you see this, like here, it's like I'm surprised they don't get there, and the daughter's like, "Whoa, I'm fine with being my dad. Look we're in a castle in Austria. and there's all kinds of stuff. like Dad was right. Like, it would be better if I lived with him. Mom lives in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Mom kind of sucks. I have a PlayStation here.
Yeah,
And
PS2. That's how far futuristic he is. He's got connections.
yeah, he's got a PS2. He's got that weird like Sony Nintendo hybrid that nobody knows about, but I do.
Yeah, he's got that one.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, it is a castle. But this is, quintessential 90s, divorced parents.
Yep.
The custody battle kind of thing. You got to get Hulk Hogan in there to save your kid.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to go in there, on an espionage mission and then literally kill people in the process to get this kid.
Yeah, because his kid's life is worth way more than everybody else's.
Exactly, But it does make for some pretty cool action scenes. Like, I will say, like, when this one first started off, I was like, wow, like, that Austrian scene, there was all kinds of badass shootout scenes, fights, even Shannon Tweed's in there. She's got, like, all kinds of it. Like, she's putting her, like, Tybo to work.
It's a little less corny because... Well, the first one kind of evened out. It got to a point in the first one where they had that like scene at the pool or like when they first get to that compound and she has that moment where she like, they've got Hogan, kind of like bound or whatever. And then like, they have that shot with the guns or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff. It was cool, but it was like, okay, this is a little bit schlocky. I don't think this one as bad in that regard, but it's still very made for TV.
Yeah, no, it definitely. It sounds weird. This one, the beginning part, I feel like it was way higher quality than like the second half of the movie, or even really like the second, third parts or whatever you want to say of it. But it does feel like they put almost more effort in the beginning of this movie because that whole Auschwitz. I mean, there's a part where like they're literally going up like gondolas and Hulk Hogan's like swinging from them and everything like that, And apparently this all takes place in Canada. Everything in this movie is shot in Canada. Even when they're in the Middle East, they're in Canada.
So I think of the Middle East. I think Canada.
And somehow, some way they drug Hogan up from like Miami, and had him shoot in Canada, and then he realized it was the worst place ever.
Yeah, he's just not. Yeah, that doesn't work. He's been shooting everything else in Florida. Like Thunder Paradise was at Disney.
Yeah.
I wonder, when did the AOL thing happen with TNT and all that stuff?
Probably got to be right around this time.
Yeah,
90s.
I was wondering that because I know everything kind of got, when they came in, everything got fucked up. Like WCW, all the TV shows. It wasn't just wrestling. It was everything that was going on at Turner, TBS, TNT, CNN, Cartoon Network. Everything kind of like was like in like a limbo, or like things were just kind of messy. And I feel like this was pretty close to that time because, I know they came in before WCW went out.
Yeah.
So.
Because I think that was also part of what kind of some of the many things that kind of screwed over AOL too, because AOL kind of like I felt like kids and the youth had no real appreciation for like AOL. That was like one of those ones that was like, nope, get out of here, you. And that's why that was like part of the reason like they couldn't hold on to any of their stuff. Like, as it came around that .com boom kind of section.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's weird like how out of that early stuff, not much is left.
No, how like things just, and how quickly people turn on it. It's like, okay, like in 1994, AOL seems like a kind of a, ooh, it's hip, it's futuristic. Look at this thing, all that stuff like that. By the turn of it, it's like, nope, nobody wants anything to do with it. AOL Messenger, get out of here, you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like Kmart. It went from like early days of Kmart to late days of Kmart, but like in a fraction of the time.
Yeah, in a very short window. Yeah, that's like there's just radical changes in that time period.
Yeah, I feel like that probably affected this. I feel like
I can do that.
yeah, because it makes sense. I know it's around the same time, and I don't even know if Hogan was even around WCW once this thing took place. I don't know if they had a tie-in match with this one. They should have had Ultimate Warrior with this one
Yeah.
because yeah,
Maybe they had Scott Steiner somehow involved with.
Scott Steiner because he was all they had left. They had him and Vampiro.
Yeah.
No,
But,
Vampiro.
that would when you say that though, it probably makes logical sense why this movie was up in Canada. Then maybe that was the way to get around like getting out of a lot of stuff. Was it like we'll just go up to Canada and shoot stuff?
It might have been because yeah, everything was. I feel like everything was affected, or like it feels. It's kind of similar to how the HBO thing has been with Discovery, and like how they'll just like completely shelve movies. It's a tax write-off that are already done.
Yeah, well, HBO just feels like it's been like shooting itself in the foot. Like when you drop HBO out of the title of your streaming service, it's like, and you leave Cinemax, the Cinemax, it feels like the C version always has been like that. It's always been like the joke kind of cable station, you know. Not that anybody dislikes it, but it's never been like looked upon like, oh, like, you know, that's a high end net. It's like, no, it's Skinamax. Like,
Yeah.
why would you name your thing Skinamax?
Yeah, I guess because they had already done HBO Max.
Yeah.
And then if you go, I've thought about this a lot actually. If you go back, it's just like, well, is it just HBO now? Like, what am I paying for? Like before I had HBO Max, it's just, you know, so you can't call it like, so what?
It's like now it's just regular HBO again. It's like I've been downgraded.
Yeah. Well, you do get some, actually, I have to be honest, that's my favorite one.
It mostly has always been a pretty solid one. I almost never watch it, even though I do have it. But
Yeah, I never watch anything.
I watch VHS.
Yeah, we watch Shadow. We watch a 20
of YouTube.
Yeah, we watched a 24-year-old made-for-TV movie with an aging Hulk Hogan and Carl Weathers on YouTube. Is what we just watched.
I have all the choices in the world, and this is what I want more than anything.
Yeah, it's like I just saw Oppenheimer, and so there's like movies out there like that. The Creator, I haven't finished that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, watch fucking Shadow Warriors. Oh, 2.
Yeah, 2. Exactly. You know, where they're in Austria, Canada, that is.
Austria. Yeah. So you got to save a little kid. The mom comes into play. And I actually thought it was kind of a weird choice with this one. I didn't know. I thought they were going to try to tie it back into the original one. Mm-hmm. A little bit more, and maybe bring some of the, that stuff back. Because did the villain die in the first one? Because I feel like he just went to jail.
I think he did just go to jail. Like there's really no connection to the first one.
Yeah,
I
was kind of disappointed in that.
Yeah, it just felt like because you have them all there, it's kind of made to be sort of like a continual TV show. It's kind of weird that it doesn't, but maybe it's still that TV time period where maybe they wanted to go, hey, here's the thing. Some people might not have seen the first one. We want to kind of be able to have it start off and you can just jump right in.
Yeah.
So that might be the reason why it's kind of done the way it is.
I don't know. I was a little disappointed with that one because I kind of got to the point where I liked a lot of that stuff, and then Billy Banks didn't die.
No, I don't think so.
No, so I mean, not Billy Banks. The
Lucano?
Did the other bad guy die? Like the one that took over the island?
Yeah, I think Kano died.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I think he didn't make it off that island. But either way, I thought it was going to kind of be a continuation of that one. But I do kind of get the point of it too. Kind of going a different direction. But, I feel like you kind of were establishing like a main, like overarching villain.
Yeah. But no, it's weird because this one here is like you have that Austria story. They go through all the action, they rescue the daughter, they bring her back, and that's only feels like it's like maybe a half an hour into the movie or so, or something like that. Like it almost has that feeling like it's the end of an episode.
Yeah.
Like it literally has this feeling like that. And then it's almost like they go right onto another plot point. And I don't think any of that stuff ever relates back to the Austria stuff again, right?
No, I mean, it feels like
Hogan's weird flashbacks that he has to the Gulf War every once in a while, but
I feel like they were developing a TV show and it got filtered into this is like the greatest hits of ideas.
Yeah, that's probably something what it was
from that, because they were doing that. And if this makes more sense as a TV show.
Yeah.
It feels like it's 18. It's a new 18. And it feels like it was just very, very hodgepodge because they were just taking little bits and pieces of, I guess concepts and ideas and like treatments and like, okay, let's put this all. We're not going to do the show. We're not going to get the chance to do it. Maybe AOL cut that show out.
That could have been. It could have just been like they were dicking with it, and then Hogan was just like, whatever. Let's. You know what? We'll go with the idea. We'll just slap together one movie. Finish our contract of it or whatever. It does.
It does feel obligatory.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the first one. Like we're hoping for more. And, it does feel kind of like, let's just get this over with, and get out of Turner's grasp. Well, not his grasp anymore, but, what's left of it.
Yeah, exactly. One of those ones. Because I will say, once it gets come to like the second part, which is, I guess, more the main part of the movie, it is kind of a weird one. It's like Hogan just has these flashbacks, and then he's looking through like computer files or something like that. And he just like recognizes a guy's like, I don't know, his eyes or something like that. It's like something like one like feature that seems very like inconspicuous, and he notices it's like, oh, wait a second, this guy looks like the guy that was gassing me like whenever, because obviously I never had these flashbacks at all in the first movie.
No.
So like I don't know, this must have happened in between.
Well, that's what the Taekwondo on the beach was for.
Yeah,
was to keep the monsters at bay.
Yeah, keep all this stuff off.
Yeah, you have that. You're not dealing with these cheesy flashbacks with the things like the halo effect or whatever.
Well, it's like, and then like I think they all come together and they sort of figure out who this guy kind of is, but Hogan goes off on his own, before letting the other team join him, and that this is where you get this interesting Middle Eastern scene where Hogan's out there with like 2 machine guns blasting people left and right, looking for this dude who poisoned him at one point.
Yeah, he got day raped.
Yeah.
And so he's searching for somebody basically who date raped him and caused him to have these weird Walker Texas Ranger flashbacks essentially.
Yeah, and now he's just out, shooting every Middle Eastern guy he can find to find, the evidence that he needs to figure out who this guy is and where he's at. And it turns out he's this scientist guy who's making like, a gas bomb or something, but he's supposed to shoot from like Canada and drop it over Seattle, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember Seattle. I just remember, all right, so we got disconnected, between some technological issues that we're overcoming / me being on cold medicine. Things just kind of fell apart. So we're kind of going again. So we'll start from here. We were talking last night about what the last thing I remember, we were discussing the bad guys' motives. What we're getting ready to do, blow up Seattle or something like that. So we'll kind of do like a quick refresher. So essentially, this is almost like 2 movies. The first half is very, very quick. It's like a TV episode.
Yeah.
Like the commercials in there. It's a good TV episode. They got to go save this kid in Austria. And it literally has not a damn thing to do with the second half of the movie, all it really is showing you what they are now, like what this group is. Like now they've set up business as mercenary kind of group. They're the A-Team.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, they're the A-Team. And then when they get back from saving the little girl, Hulk Hogan starts. Sorry, not Hulk Hogan. What is he? I can't remember. What is his name in the movie?
It's like Mike McClintock or something. McBride. Is it Mike McBride?
I like McClintock better, but Mike McBride. He starts having these random like flashbacks of like this. Just these eyes, like you don't know what's going on. It would have been really dope if it was Sting.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been so cool. I kept thinking that the whole time, like, well, what if this was Sting? Well, they had Sting in here.
I will say, speaking of Sting, though, because of the description on Wikipedia here of this movie, I learned that Sting has a movie from the 2000 called Slipstream, or not Slipstream, something like that. I saved it. I found it on YouTube, at least. Give me 2 seconds. So I know I can find it again on this thing here.
Oh, well, I mean...
Shutter Speed. I'm not even close, but it starts with an S.
Shutter Speed?
One word.
Shutter Speed. Is he a photographer? I
have no idea yet. Because of course there's no Wikipedia page for that movie, but I did find it on... not on a great copy. It looks like someone, taped off, TNT copy, but... It does exist. There's a Sting-driven movie.
Man, that's awesome. I wish they more stuff like that because, I love Sting.
Yeah.
Oh man. So my mom waited on him one time back in the day when she was waiting on Sting.
Oh my gosh.
And she said there was another wrestler there with him. She goes, I don't know who he was. I only know who he was because he showed me a picture with the face paint. And I was like, Mom, who was the other guy? I don't know. I was like, but I need to know. So I've always, she goes, he was a big guy. He was a lot of muscles. I said, okay, it was probably Lex Luger. I'm going to go bet it was Lex Luger.
That's probably, I could see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, old Lex Luger and Sting right there in pencil form.
Oh my God. Dude, if you could go back in time, and you had those pencils just go back into like in 1997 elementary school, dude, you could like get whatever you wanted with your pencil collection. You could trade in like that Surge pencil and all that stuff. Like you can get like,
Well, that's when I got those pencils was in like 1997, 98 or something like that. And I got them, and I was like, nope, I'm taking these. These aren't getting sharpened. I don't even know. I might even stole them. I don't even know. There might have been like, I might have liberated them from like some, kids like, collection who was, I don't know. Can't remember. I don't think there's any of that, but.
Yeah. This kid's a punk bitch. He doesn't even know who Sting is. Like, fuck this kid.
Yeah.
Like,
he's just going to sharpen the pencil down to the bottom anyways. And...
Yeah. We do that with a regular number 2. Okay. This is Sting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they save this little kid. They come back. He starts having like these flashbacks, and essentially what happens is he's seeing these eyes, and then as they're talking about future business operations because they're not making a whole lot of money with what they're doing, he looks over, sees this wanted poster, and he's like, I see those eyes. I know those eyes, and that's the guy. And everybody's like, that's not the guy. It's not even the same face. So he had. Plastic surgery. And everybody's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Say whatever you can to justify, whatever. And then, so basically they start doing their own research to see if Mike McBride is, sane or not sane.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then they end up... They get what's that guy's name? I can't look at, just for everybody to know, I can't look at IMDb like I usually do. But the karate teacher from Karate Kid.
Oh,
for the bad guys.
Is that Martin Cove?
Maybe, I don't know, but he's the guy who's like sweep the leg.
Oh.
He's like in this too, and they don't really fully like him. Like they keep him like he's useful, but they don't want he's not part of the group. You know what I mean?
That's Martin Cove. Okay.
Yeah. And so they go to this guy because he's been kind of like, alienated from the FBI or CIA, whichever one he was working at. And he's kind of like a pariah, but he's also very useful to them too. So everybody likes to keep this guy around because he's useful, but they don't want him like hanging out with the group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is it's really a dick move.
Yeah, because they treat him like the fourth wheel. It's like,
yeah,
he's there. Yeah.
And then the thing is, he's a ride or die. So they should just, he seems to be very efficient.
Uh-huh.
At pretty much everything. So they should just keep him around.
Yeah, he's kind of feels like the Felix of 007.
Okay. Yeah. Except they're all I don't know, they're all kind of like mercenaries, vigilante, something. But they go to this guy and they compare this one picture to another picture of the guy that, the guy that Hogan's dreaming of, or McBride is dreaming of. They're like, he's dead. Dude's dead. He's not he's dead. But it turns out he might be not dead. Yeah. And right when they figured that out, they already figured out that McBride has already went overseas / a dirt pit in Canada to wreak havoc. And I will say, when he shows up with those two guns blazing,
yeah,
that was some Arnold Schwarzenegger shit.
Yeah, exactly. He just comes in, double giant machine guns blasting away, shooting everybody in sight. You know what I mean? I remember because that was one when we were doing the first movie, and I looked up one of the trailers, and it was all the confusion of who knows what's 1 and 2. I remember that popped up. I'm like, well, that clearly wasn't the first movie. I'm like, I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to be spoiled any farther. That's too cool, though.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh. Yeah, no, he goes in hard and just blows up everybody. And man, if they would have made this movie after 9/11,
yeah.
Oh my God, $87 billion. First of all, to the box office. Yeah, we would have had McBride action figures. I mean, they were just 2 years too early on this. I don't want to say capitalize on 9/11, but they would have. So, yeah. Man, if they would have waited, just held out 2 more years, Hogan going in and just, basically shooting up great value brand Al Qaeda, blowing them out on the water, these machine guns. Oh my God, that would have made so much money.
Yeah, even if it was just even still the made for TV one, the viewership rating would have been skyrocketed.
Oh my God, they would have sold so much Procter and Gamble, oh my gosh, so much deodorant, so much, shampoo. Surge wouldn't have went out. Surge wouldn't have went out.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd still be on shelves today.
Coke would have kept that around.
Coke would have kept it around. Fucking bastards. Real quick, Surge is still better than Mountain Dew, Mellow Yellow.
Yeah, I'm definitely more partial towards Coca-Cola products than a Pepsi one. So I generally think that most Coke products are better than a Pepsi product.
How dare you? That hurts. That stings, but that's okay.
I like Surge. I like Sprite more. I like Mr. Pibb more.
Well, the Dr. Pepper's
Dr. Pepper's its own company, but
yeah. And that's because you never had Sherwan. If you had Sherwan, you wouldn't even want Dr. Pepper anymore.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, let me tell you a funny story. My address is over. It's not really super related. So anyway, so he goes in there, guns ablazing, basically kills half of ISIS himself. And then he ends up in this tent, and it's the guy. The guy turns around and he's like, oh, funny to see you here. And then they start, running their mouth. And then he gets captured, McBride. And then the coolest part of this, they did this so well, added a lot of suspense, is he hits him with this serum. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you have 72 hours to live. Now, not that virus would have an exact clock in it, but they treat it like it does. It's a literal countdown, like it, 71 hours, 59 seconds. It's the last second of your life. It's the way they treat it. And so he's like, 72 hours, you're going to die. And they talk some mad shit to each other. And then right after that, that's when the rest of the gang shows up, blows everything up. And they have to, go save the world because they're going to have He's going to hit Seattle with a chemical weapon. That's what it is.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's her name? The girl's name?
Shannon Tweed.
Yeah. Shannon Tweed's daughter lives in Seattle.
Yeah.
And so she has
this daughter that could have been tied to the gymnastics thing in the previous movie.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have used, see, they just dropping the ball with this kid, this imaginary kid. And we don't ever see the kid. We just finally hear, she tries to call her to be like, hey, you're going to die from a chemical weapons attack. But we're not supposed to tell you, which there's a lot of stupid things in this middle part of the movie. Really stupid. So there's that. She's like, hey, my name's Brittany. I'm not here. I'm probably out with some hot cute guy. That's literally what the voicemail says. So I was like, oh God, this is bad. Eric Bischoff wrote this. So, or what's the guy they brought into WCW later that Jim hates? Or can't remember that guy's name, but Vince Russo.
Yes.
Yeah, he wrote this. he wrote this. So here's the things that happen that are really stupid. First of all, the way this virus thing is treated is so dumb. Like there's that whole part where they take him to the doctor. It's just like stock footage of just like different medical things. She's like, look, dude, and nothing happens. He just wastes, of his short life, the 72 hours he has left, and wasted like a lot of it there. Not doing it. And so they're like, hey, you know what? This guy's probably got the antidote, so we got to go get it. And so they had to stop a chemical weapons attack on Seattle while also getting the antidote to save Hulk Hogan's life.
Yep.
And there was another dumb. There was just a lot of stupidity with the Seattle situation. Like, well, we can't tell them. Well, it's going to cause a panic. Okay, well, that's probably a good, they'll evacuate, right? If there's like a panic, they'll leave.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Like the reason for not telling Seattle, they were like, fuck Seattle, honestly. Well, my daughter lives there. Well, I mean, collateral damage.
Yeah.
It's pretty much their attitude. That I hated that.
It's just like, well, whatever. We're gonna put an end to grunge, I guess. Now, just cap it off, even though it's already spread.
Yeah, it's already spread. Well, 99. I mean, you're pretty much, it's almost. Look, this is Smash Mouth now era.
Yeah. Well, we've now got the ska and post grunge and all the kinds of stuff. Yeah, that time is kind of it's
a lot of pop rock going on, Smash Mouth, and you turn on the radio. 1999, you turn on the radio, the first thing you hear, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. Every single time I turn on the radio.
Yeah, some bare naked ladies.
Yeah, goddamn that. And I remember that summer, and this is nostalgic, so it's kind of relevant. I was in St. Augustine. That's my favorite summer, 99. And I was in St. Augustine almost the entire summer. With my grandparents down there. And I remember I would get up, go to the beach, swim, and I would come back to this other camper that my aunt was renting, and she wasn't in, so basically I had my own house. It was great. And I would watch the VH1 top 20 while I was eating lunch or whatever.
Yeah, I still remember. Dream.
Yeah. The living the dream, American dream. I'll be sitting there eating a ham sandwich with some potato chips and watching the same thing every day, then go back out and ride bikes and swim and all that. But it was like the JLo song and then remember that stupid she's so high, that and then the Madonna song from Austin Powers was in there.
Oh yeah.
So that's your throwback to what we're listening to when Shadow Warriors comes out. Bare Naked Ladies and Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer.
in 99, well, the solid years.
It was a good movie year.
Oh, super good movie year too.
It was a great movie year. Music, it was.
Yeah. Music, but video game and movie year, real solid. Good time period.
Yeah,
Dreamcast comes out right at that time.
What comes out, you said?
Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah. I never had one. My buddy had one.
Oh, it was such a glorious. It was just, I think to me, why the Dreamcast always stands out so much is that was the first system that I ever got, kind of like right when it came out. Before, I always had systems that were like 4 or 5 years past their prime.
Yeah.
You know, so like to have a system where it's like, oh, I am in the future now.
That was a good one too. That was a shame. Out of all the ones that failed, like technically failed,
Yeah.
the one I think that should get a do-over.
Yeah. Well, I always say it's like in that 2 glorious years that Dreamcast was alive, I always kind of go like, try to find another system that had a solid 2 years worth of that many good titles in that kind of short a time. Like try to just take a block of some other system. I don't think you can find one that actually has 2 years that are as good as that Dreamcast run. Of course, yeah, you add up the rest of the run, yeah, for all those systems, but just like a specific 2 years, that one's so good.
Yeah, I would love to see them. I wish I had another chance, but alas, there was too much good stuff going on in '99. It was a good year. It was a lot of good popcorn. And Shadow Warriors is right up there with pretty much, Fight Club,
Matrix.
Yeah, Matrix. I mean, it's right. It's in that conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Citizen Kane of TV movies.
It really is. There's something special about it.
Yeah, we joke. It is good though for a TV movie.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is I think it is good for a TV movie. The action's really solid. I mean, even towards the end, like when like Hogan's going after that antidote and everything like that, they got a big old like hovercraft scene where Hogan's hanging off the side of it the whole time as it's driving up and down.
That was badass. Like all the action in there is pretty well shot. The guy's got a knack for it. The director, the Caesar or whatever his name is.
That dude, I kind of looked that guy up, and that guy's like, he's involved in a lot of like big TV shows and so on like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's in things like 24. He was in like the La Femme Nikita, like the Canadian version.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just left and right, his name's up and down, all kinds of big action things to somewhat forgotten shows, but then some kind of ones you do remember.
Jag PSI, I think I saw him there.
Yeah. He did the Kung Fu, like the comeback version in like the 90s. Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of 24 stuff. So
in 24, I never got into 24, but I know it looked like a movie. It felt like a movie, I remember. So yeah, this guy does pretty good. Like, I mean, this movie is competent. It's silly at times and stupid, but so are like every 80s action movie you'll ever see. Yeah. I mean, like, there's just a certain charm to it. Like, Predator is stupid, but Predator's amazing. Yeah. But it's stupid. But who cares? It's so fun and so good. I'm not saying this is Predator, but it's a Predator quality TV movie. Yeah. Because that's the thing is what it is. It's like, might not have like, that, it's got a little bit more of a, I guess that cheesier TV acting in it, but other than Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers is like he's the odd one out. He's too good for this. He's too good for Mandalorian when he's in it. Yeah, but that's the thing is Carl. He needs more starring roles in life. I don't care how old he gets. He still needs that good starring role again. Yeah. Well, I will say that I'm thankful for The Mandalorian because of that, because they even let him direct an episode or two. Oh, did he? I don't know. Maybe I did. I kind of forgot. Yeah. His character's pretty good, and he shows up. And I wish they could do more with this character, but they do still give him a lot of props. And like I said, they let him direct an episode too. Yeah. I think that was in the last season. He directed might have been, I think it was a second one, but he gets some love from that, but then you look back and look at his filmography. I mean, it's better than most people realize. Also, that brief little show up in that shitty Burt Reynolds movie that we watched. Oh yeah, exactly. He was there for like a moment. Gosh, I hated that movie. Semi-Tough is what we're Semi-Tough, yeah. That's one of my least favorite movies that we've reviewed is that one. But
I saw that one
anyway,
on VHS at the store the other day, and I was like, yeah, I don't need that one.
he'll pass it up. Even though the poster is really cool, and
Yeah.
artwork's cool, like bad taste in your mouth. That one just hated it. This was fun. This was good. Shadow Warriors. It's a shame because it's clear that this was going to be a TV show. It would have been better in that capacity overall.
Yeah.
And I think this would have been a successful TV show. I think it would have. It knew who its target demographic was, and when you compare it to other shows that was kind of like in there, like those TNT, CBS. I'm sorry, not CBS, TNT, USA, TBS shows that they had, not just the ones that were like in syndication, but the ones that were kind of made for them. This, or sci-fi. This is like right on their level, and it's not better. So I think they would have got a good 5 or 6 seasons out of this.
Well, because plus I think this when TNT's doing like when they're really like doing the man era, kind of like because they're like the first work for men.
100%, because it was like I remember TNT was like the man station, and then because they also had basketball too. They had NBA basketball. But still,
yeah.
And I think
basketball, wrestling, and action movies was their big thing.
Yeah, and hockey. I think they had hockey at this time.
Yeah,
I might be wrong about that. And then TBS was a little bit more, slightly more cosmopolitan, kind of like Man and Woman. They had that dinner and a movie show. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. And so that was more of like Man or Woman, except for the Braves. They always had the Atlanta Braves on there.
Yeah.
Because Ted Turner owns the Braves. You can watch every Braves game if you wanted to, which is why I hate the fucking Braves. I hate the Atlanta Braves. Because everybody here loves the Braves.
Oh, do they?
Yes, because we don't have a team. That's the one sport we don't have a professional team. It's baseball, North Carolina. So everybody pulls for the Braves. So I'm a Nationals fan. Well, actually, a Rays. I like to take away Rays, but this is irrelevant. Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad we did this. I wish there was one more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is that Ultimate Warrior one that I think would be in a similar vibe. Of course, it doesn't have Carl Weathers or anything in it, but
is it called Ultimate Warrior? Like Hulk Hogan being Ultimate Warrior just seems sacrilege.
I think so. Let me take a look here. Oh, I don't know. It's easier if I just look at the director, actually, because he did that one too.
Yeah,
it is The Ultimate Weapon. Never mind.
Ultimate Weapon. Okay, I was like calling it Ultimate Warrior. Like, damn.
Yeah, it's getting a little close.
But I mean, also that would have came out in '98, which is when they had that second run.
Yeah. That's probably what. Yeah. So yeah, there's The Ultimate Weapon, which is still directed by the same dude as these two movies. It's a Canadian movie, so I have a definite feel. And this is supposed to be the only one that's the only R-rated Hulk Hogan movie. So that would make this one kind of interesting. So this was not made for TV.
Does he have like a grainy tape with somebody's wife? And so is that part of the deal? Oh, man.
The way he's going after.
Yeah, that's what got him in trouble. There was a couple things that got him in trouble. That was the big one that got in trouble, but I don't know why.
So here we go. Here's a little just synopsis of it. Hogan stars as a military contractor who runs afoul with the IRA when he destroys one of their weapon stashes and must protect his family from their vengeful wrath.
So like Patriot games?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So Hogan's fighting up. Is it IRA and Patriot games? Maybe it is. It's been a while.
I think it was. Well, Sean Bean is like.
Yeah.
I think it is. Or IRA-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it is.
So, yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
That's what's going on in that one. But that does sound kind of interesting, though.
We need to, with the new podcast, we need to maybe rank the wrestler actors.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen. Because now there's a lot. Now there's so many. Yeah. For a while, Hogan. we mentioned, I think I mentioned last night in this episode that we're doing that there wasn't a whole lot of wrestling involvement.
No.
But I'm pretty sure that big guy that he was going fighting there for a while, he gets into 2 fights with a really big dude. I want to say that was either Reese that was part of Raven's flock, or it was actually his nephew, Horace Hogan.
Huh. You know, because I want to say I remember I was trying to watch in the credits to see who the heck that was, and then I never saw a name that I could recognize.
I'll have to look it up. I think that was, if I had to bet on it, it didn't. Horace Hogan kind of changed his look so much it was really hard to tell, but it makes sense for it to be him. But I think it was Reese, that one really big dude that was in Raven's flock. I think that's who that was.
Huh.
But I might be wrong. But I feel pretty confident in it. I mean, whoever it was is a really big guy.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I kind of wonder with these ones too is if, even though it's weird because they are still tied in with WCW, but it almost has this feeling like Hogan was trying to like keep it as almost far away from wrestling at the same time too.
Yeah, I think they were actually a little ahead of the game to what WWE tried to do a few years ago and didn't really pull it off that well, where they tried to have their own movie studio.
Yeah.
Because they had that Triple H movie and they had before John Cena
one.
Yeah. Before John Cena got too big, they had that John Cena movie, and then somehow they ended up with the rights to that Surf's Up Penguin movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they produced that. So you'll get like the Surf's Up. Like I was at Dollar General one day and I saw Surf's Up 2 or whatever. It has the WWE logo on it. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, it felt like I was like on like in Chinatown when you get to like knock off stuff, and it's like a Marvel action figure, and it's got like Shrek's head and Thor's body.
Yeah, all piecemeal together.
Yeah, what is this? Oh my god! But I think that's what WCW was trying to do. Like they're like, okay, well let's use. They all have muscles and they can blow shit up. Let's just start an action movie studio, which is a good idea.
Yeah, it really is.
Maybe that Sting movie was part of that.
That's what I'm kind of wondering, because it literally feels like it comes right after this. So it might have been kind of the next one in the game plan.
Yeah. There's nothing will compare when it comes to WCW and television. Nothing compares to the Baywatch episode.
Oh, God, I love that one.
I swear. It's like, I think it's, who's in it? It's Ric Flair.
It's got Ric Flair. It's got Hogan. It's got
Vader and Macho Man, I think.
Yes, Vader and Macho Man. I almost wanted to say, God, who the heck else? There's like a couple other people in there too.
I want to say it was Jim Neidhart, but I think that's
what I was thinking too. But I might be.
I think we're thinking that because of Thunder in Paradise, because he has that scene in Thunder in Paradise. So I don't think it was. Maybe Luger. Maybe Luger was in it.
Yeah, I think that might be, because there's quite a bit of people in it, and
it was like a 3-on-3 match. I think is what ended up happening.
Yeah.
And Flair steals the show.
He really does.
Oh, Arn Anderson was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, like Jimmy Hart and all kinds of other like guys like that are there too.
Yes. Oh man, the wrestling episode of Baywatch is.
The funny thing is it's the Baywatch acting around it is what makes it seem even goofier.
The best actor in that episode, and I'm including the Baywatch actor. Okay, I'm including David Hasselhoff. The best actor in that episode is Ric Flair.
Oh, by far.
It's not even close. Like, he's playing like a greedy like real estate guy that's going to shut down like Muscle Beach or whatever. Like, he's like, yeah, I can do that, and he did it. He did it great. He's like, and he's just playing Ric Flair. I'm willing, Dylan, Castillon, Oh man. Oh man, I watched that like a year ago.
That's what I did too. It was like maybe even 2 years ago. I popped up on it. I was like, there's the full episode on YouTube. I'm like, I'm watching this.
I think I watched it when we did Thunder in Paradise, actually. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It probably came up related.
The algorithm's like, oh, this dumbass will love this. And it was right. The algorithm was right.
It's exactly what I needed to see.
Oh, Macho Man. My thing is with Macho Man is like even when he acts, even when like he in the Baywatch episode, he's Macho Man, so he can just do the all that stuff. But even like when he was not like Macho Man, okay, in this movie you're not Macho Man, okay, you're Bonesaw. You're Bonesaw, so do a little something different. Just be Bonesaw, okay? Bonesaw's ready.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, like, well, whatever. All right, thanks, man.
That's how I feel. I feel like Macho Man just knows Macho Man, and
yeah, I agree. Well, anyway, so Shadow Warriors 1 and 2, we watched it. Again, if you go to watch these movies, it does get a little confusing about which one's which. And they even in certain places are literally labeled wrong. But you can, if it, the second one starts off with like a mercenary mission, and it seems like it's established. The first one's like, opens up with Hogan doing like the stuff on the beach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I guess that's the easiest way. Okay, if Hogan starts off with his kung fu training on the beach with the tiki torches and everything, that's the first one. If it starts off with Hogan having Gulf War flashbacks and in very alternative 90s looking music video kind of cutting, that's the second one.
Yeah. It's like, it's right before commercial break. This Gulf War flashbacks brought to you by Sirs, and here's 3 doors down. It's just here without you, baby. Yeah, brought to you by Sirs. So, yeah, that's the look for the tiki torches, and that's the actual first one, and they are worth watching. I recommend go watching these if you like wrestling nostalgia, like almost, post the hype WCW era, like it's like Rome is falling kind of WCW.
Yeah.
Impero, Norman Smiley, WCW. If you're looking for some nostalgia from that era, go check this out, and you'll have a fun time.
Yeah, no. I think they're almost like very hidden gems that I feel like a lot of people have either kind of forgotten that they existed for, wrestling fans and so on like that. Mm-hmm. And, and they've just been sort of lost to time, like, no matter what, like there's just these classic hidden gem films that, at least some, Good Samaritans upload them on YouTube.
Thanks to those Good Samaritans. And, I'd forgotten these existed. I can't remember. I think you mentioned these to me or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because Hogan name dropped him on like at the podcast, and it was like I literally had to pull on over on the side of the road and go, right. What? There's a Hogan Carl Weathers movie. He's like, how have I never found this before? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too. And then when I watched it, I could remember some of the promotion, but I didn't tie 2 and 2 together until then. So. But fun time. The first one was the better one.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that was the solid one all around. But the second one still has quite a bit going for it too, and improves in other different ways.
Yeah, I think it was gonna. It's a fun group. Like you want to hang out with the group.
Yeah,
they got dynamic down, and so and we also just the Shannon Tweed nanny fight is just worth by itself. Like if you could just find that in isolation.
Yeah. Shannon Tweed using her Taibo skills,
Which my favorite was when she jumped in when they're going to fight the terrorists and she jumps over on her dirt bike and she's got the hat on like a soccer mom coming in there like to kick ass. Anyway, thank y'all for listening to this review of Shadow Warriors 1 and 2. It's a double feature we just did. So, as always, you can go to oldmanorange.com to find all the great stuff Spencer does, Pizza Boys comic and Old Man Orange podcast and all that fun stuff. And if you want to find me and yell at me about something, you can go to at Via VHS on X. You can go to find me on TikTok at Via VHS, Instagram at Via VHS Pod, and if you're depressed and on Facebook, I'm there too. So, you find us there. Coming up for the future, things are changing a little bit. We're definitely going to do a lot. We're going to talk some broader stuff on a new podcast because I think it's going to be nostalgia related, because there's no way we would do anything that's not nostalgia related. So that's definitely the thing, but we're going to be talking a little bit more broad stuff. We'll still be talking movies, but our conversations like to branch off into other stuff anyway. So we're going to be talking about some music and video games and all kinds of nostalgia stuff, and maybe be doing some ranking stuff. So it'll be, keep us on track a little bit more. Tangents will always be a part of the game. So look out for Analog Legends podcast. We'll get that coming up soon. I'll be doing some like little movie reviews on the side, and then I'll stay under the Via VHS banner. And then, we'll probably bounce back into this stuff a lot too, doing some movie reviews, some TV reviews and stuff. So things are just kind of more open. So anyway, thank y'all for listening. Y'all have a good one, and Via VHS is out.